Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on to this edition of Late Night America on the American Doofus channel. We greatly appreciate you being here. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, and we've got some great shows coming up. We're going to have, as soon as we get things worked out, we're going to have Defender of Ants on. We're going to have Glow Lady on. We were going to have her on the other night, but technical difficulties delayed that. And we're going to have BTM Sparky back on. Hi, Sissy. Thank you for being here. Ohana. Hello, Fred. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. And let's get things going here. I did a real quick thing last night on Friday about something that could be happening in Detroit, Michigan today. And we referenced Ramzu Unis. Now I got information from a couple of sources in Detroit that are connected, and one of them basically said, this is somebody trying to make a name for themselves. This is all foolishness. And the other one said, this guy's been trying to get this thing going for a long time, and he just may not be the person to do it. So nothing happened in Detroit. I mentioned it last night just in case something did, and I didn't play any of the video. I didn't want to promote, I guess would be the optimum word, promote any kind of potentially violent event. And here's just a little bit of what this guy had to say, and maybe you'll understand why I brought it to attention that there was a possibility something could happen.
Thousands of people gathering to vote in a referendum saying, look, we vote to be independent. That's how the right of self-determination works, how you assert it. If you get the people together to vote and say, look, we want to be independent, then those who represent them declare independence, and you begin just running the city. Put your police force out there and say, look, we are governing this. Our police force are on patrol. You give the other government notice and look, we control this now. If we see your police force, then they are enemy combatants and we're going to treat them likewise.
So that's why I brought to attention the fact that there was a call for a mass gathering. And let me go to this real quick here and kind of tie it all together if I can. And again, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. A lot to cover tonight, and we're getting to it right now. Let me run right here. This did happen in Detroit today. There was a peaceful meeting at Old St. John's Church, and they were talking about the issue of redlining, structural discrimination, historical oppression, systemic racism, denial of housing and shelter, and answering the question, what are reparations? So just so you know, that's what did happen in Detroit. And rightfully so, I had a lot of comments about, hey, what is this? What is so? My concern was something would happen in Detroit, and no matter if it was big or small, it would get blown out of proportion, and a target would be placed on every member of the Black community, and every member of the Black community already has enough targets. So that's why we brought that to the attention last night. And again, thank you all for watching. Hi, GA from CA. Real Talk, hello. Hey, Real Talk, do you want to come up here for a minute? If I'm not mistaken, you're in Detroit. Maybe you've got some information on some of this stuff. If you want to hop up here, and if you don't, that's okay. But if you do, at the top of the comments is a link. You just click on it. Click on it, and it'll bring you into what's called the green room, and then I'll just bring you up if you want. And if not, I want you to come on sometime. And anybody out there that if you got a story, or you've got you've got something that you feel needs to be shared, by all means, email me, and we'll have some open channels every once in a while. But as hectic as the world is, it's kind of tough to do at times. So if you'd like to come on, email me, americandufus@gmail.com, all one word, and we'll get you set up on the program. As I said, Gloria's coming back on. We're going to talk about, she did a soul chart reading for me that was very interesting, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her experiences on the convoys and with 1776. We're going to have BTM Sparky on at some point again, and probably more than once, because she's got a lot of things to share, and things that things people need to hear. And of course, as I said, we're trying to work it out to get Defender Vance on. While I'm at it, I'm buffering real bad. Okay. I'm not on my end. Actually, on my end, the sound and picture are both, according to my little things over here, they're both optimal. But somebody asked, how can you have Lori Arnold on and then have the squirrels on? And it's because I'm not involved in anything that may be going on amongst any of them. I admire all of them for standing up for what they believe in, and actually doing something about it. So yeah, this is a neutral site, as we've said many times, and I'm not going to, when Defender Vance comes on, we're not going to talk about what the other members of the squad or whatever. It's going to be a focus on Defender Vance, just like when I had when Freedom Squirrel and Red Squirrel jumped on, and Jersey Jen and Jersey Jay in the room. It was about them, and the same thing with Lori. It was about Lori. So my show, I know I'm not a 1776 show, and a lot of people are 1776 watchers. But I just, that's not how we do it here. Now, if people want to come on and talk with each other, I've had that. We've done that. Two people said, look, I want to have a debate with this guy. And we did it. And it was all peaceful and respectful. And that's how we try to do things here. Good evening, Rapunzel. Okay. Nobody's having buffering. Real talk, you're having some buffering. It may just be your area. Good evening, Rapunzel. Thank you for joining. Thank you, all of you, for joining. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Actually, I'll go ahead and get to that, John Doe, since you asked whatever happened to that Grandmaster Jay guy. The guy I was talking about in Detroit, I think, was trying to become Grandmaster Jay, and he was trying to fill the shoes of Grandmaster Jay and unite the Black community. And he's not Grandmaster Jay. Now, as far as what happened to Grandmaster Jay, good evening, Christy. Thank you for joining. And I'll get to that too in just a second, Fred. Grandmaster Jay is currently incarcerated, awaiting sentencing. He was found guilty on 2 counts of reckless endangerment, and the same counts that the only officer in the Breonna Taylor killing, the same counts that that officer was charged with, and that officer fired 45 rounds into nearby neighboring apartments as well as Breonna Taylor's apartment, endangering his fellow police officers too, by the way. Grandmaster Jay didn't fire his gun. He looked through the scope to get a better view of who was up pointing guns down at him. So he's awaiting sentencing. There are people working trying to get the conviction overturned, and obviously we stay on top of it. So yeah, that's what's going on with Grandmaster Jay. I believe November the 9th is now the next sentencing hearing. So, okay, let me pop on ahead here. And as we always do at the start of these things, we look at what's going on in the mass media, what they are reporting around the country. CNN says attorneys representing more than 30 migrants flown to Massachusetts are urging criminal charges be brought against DeSantis. Texas sends another busload of migrants to Kamala Harris's home. Now, the using people as political pawns is wrong, but it's done. I mean, it's done all the time. You know, you hate towards one group, marginalize another group. It's something that we should demand better for out of our politicians, but we don't. That's just something to think about. The 3 states that are doing this are the fat states, FAT, Florida, Arizona, and Texas. The 3 states that are threatening to secede from the union and start their own Confederate States of America again, I would assume, and only with a different name. Those 3 states, they say they've got at least 8 other states that will come along with them when they do secede from the union. And they've actually gone so far as to put legislation into their state government, kind of preparing for that. Just something to think about. Rail strike averted over rail deal that gives workers more time off. Big Z accuses the rhinoceroses of this, and he also sees no early end to what's happening there. And then the big rhinoceros warns of a serious response to unicorns, and evidently the unicorns have terror acts. Accuse the other side of that, what you are doing. Always, we'll get to that coming up here in a minute too. That comes from Al Jazeera, Reuters, Washington Post, The Guardian, CNN, and finally, Los Angeles Times. Queen's funeral, the invitation list spurs diplomatic issues. There's just not enough room for everybody, and some people got left off the list, and they are not happy about it. There are going to be, this is an event that I touch on here just about every episode since she passed away, because there are so many people that are so into what's going on. Now, the 19th, what's that, Monday, 2 days away, actually 1 day away now, because we're after midnight Eastern time. The Queen's funeral is a unique event because there will be a gathering of world leaders every major president, prime minister, that is not in line with the rhinoceroses will be there. And let's hope that the head rhinoceros has enough humanity not to take advantage and attack during such an event, because all the world leaders are going to be at one place at one time, and that's not all. That's all encompassing. That's monolithic, and we don't do that. Many of the most powerful people in the world are going to be in one place at one time, and I would think for someone like him, it would be a tempting target. So we'll pay attention to the Queen's funeral. It won't necessarily be featured on the show, but I'll be monitoring what happens on the 19th. And that's what's going on breaking news wise around the mainstream media. Fred, I agree. They went after Grandmaster Jay because they were scared of him. He was able to rally a crap load of people, and it scared the government. It did indeed. And I did an episode, and I pointed out the timing of everything. You want to make sure that any potential threats to the government are marginalized if you're trying to overthrow the government because of an election result that you don't agree with. And when the first talk about, not allowing the vote to be sanctioned, it was just before Grandmaster Jay was arrested. Grandmaster Jay was arrested in December for an act that took place in the first week of September. Just something to think about. Christy, good evening. Well, thank you for the subscription. I greatly appreciate it. Coming from the Defender Vance channel, excellent. I've said it before. When we were all so engrossed in what was happening around the 1776 situation, and it was clear that the public, not the hardcore 1776 supporters, but the public that began watching, they all took the side of the opposition, the underdogs, and they became internet celebrities to the people that care about that 1776 situation, and it wouldn't have been a show without Defender Vance. Defender Vance was must watch. At one point, somebody came on here. Hi, Lori Arnold. Somebody came on here and said, Defender Vance is going live. And I said, okay, and I shut my show off because I knew everybody's going to go watch Defender Vance, and I wanted to go watch Defender Vance. So I'm looking forward to having him on. And he, by far and away, the most requests I get to have somebody as a guest is Defender Vance, followed by Anarchy Princess. But Anarchy Princess has some things going on, and those things are private and personal, and we're not gonna touch on any of that. Lori Arnold, I haven't talked about you yet, so your ears can't be burning, but I was just getting ready to talk to you. Hey, hang on a second. Let's talk to her. Real talk, stay on here. Stay with me, man. I'm going to bring you on right after this. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
How are you? Oh, no. um, here we go. Let's try this again. Okay. Well, she popped. Is she on here? Lori, are you there? No. Okay. Hello to Lori Arnold. I hope she can pop back on here, and because I was going to be talking about the fact that she was at the Trump rally, and I wanted to get a report.
There, am I back on?
Let's get you back up. There you are. Yes. Hi.
I can't sit and look at you because I'm driving, so I can just
Okay.
talk.
That's fine. You're driving back to Indiana from Youngstown, Ohio. You just left the Trump rally.
Yes, I just left it. Unfortunately, my phone died like near the end of it, but I did get to have a lot of good conversations off camera.
So what are your impressions of the Trump rally? Was it well attended?
Yeah, it wasn't like back when there were so many people you couldn't get anywhere near the place and you had to wait for hours. Well attended. I like the area that it was in, the arena that it was in, mostly full. The very back had some empty seats, but yeah, it was pretty well than a Biden rally is.
So no, that's fine. That's fine. I wouldn't go to a Biden rally if they had one. Do you? Well, oh no, come on. We got her frozen in a funny position anyway. She's on her way back from Youngstown, Ohio, everybody. And I imagine the cell service is a little bit sporadic. At the Trump rally, pretty well attended, better attended than a Biden rally would be. And we lost her again. Her car is overheating. She's having problems tonight. Okay, thanks, Fred. The Angry Viking. I'd like to get him on here, and actually, I might try to reach out to Dylan and see if he'll come on and talk and do like a little retrospective interview with me of looking back at that time. Yeah, not a problem, Lori. Don't worry about it. We'll have you back on. Actually, you're in Indiana, so we're going to be keeping an eye on what you're doing, and we'll have you back on. Let me get Real Talk up here for just a few minutes. My man, are you with me?
I'm here. We're having trouble buffering a lot.
Okay.
It seems to work better without the camera.
Okay. All right. Thank you for finally coming on here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We will. I'm echoing a little bit. So can you turn your volume down on your end?
Let's see. How's that?
That's a little better. I just won't talk much, so it'll work because you're not echoing, just me. So you don't know anything at all about this guy in Detroit?
About the one that called about what we talked about the other day?
Yeah.
No, as far as I can tell, my intel, nobody knows who he is. And I'm pretty much connected to the community, and everybody I talk to don't even know who he is.
Good. Okay. All right. because some of the things he was saying was pretty troubling. He was talking about going on the offensive and just taking things back.
Well,
And I
like I said, I was telling you in your email, he just sounds like a wannabe.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a number of people here in the community who are fighting for a lot of different things, and that's just not one of them.
Right.
The big issue here in Detroit right now is, if people are not aware, we went through that bankruptcy a few years ago, and it pretty much restructured our city government, and we elected a new mayor, and who was very much pro-development. So we're going through a process here in Detroit of gentrification on a very large scale, and that's the issue right now. Is that's one of the priorities right now in terms of what's going on in Detroit, is addressing this issue of gentrification and displacing people from legacy neighborhoods with development. So that's the number one objective right now for a lot of people on the ground, is that we're trying to fight this aggressive development posture by the city, which is moving people out of their homes. So there's a lot of issues that are connected with that, but taking the city back, I don't know where that comes from, because we're about 80% Black here, and
yeah. And I was pointing it out because, in my opinion, it wasn't something like that would not work out well for the Black community. Now, I understand why there are members of the Black community that feel that way and are frustrated enough to want to do something, but that's not the way to do it.
I would say, just from my perspective, I haven't kind of got that sense from anybody that surrounds me, is that the level of frustration doesn't rise to that point. Because I said the real issue here is gentrification, is this pro-development posture. And we have a number of organizations that are addressing a number of issues. So there's plenty of outlets where you wouldn't have the kind of frustration that I didn't get a chance to see this guy's video, but we don't have that kind of quote frustration here where we have to, take stuff back like that. I mean, Detroit has a long history of activism, and we went through that kind of like violent aspect, so to speak, during the '60s riots, and we've really not revisited that since the '60s. I mean, we have, like I said, we have a number of organizations and activists who are working on a myriad of issues. So it never gets to that point, in my perspective. I just think we just have some hotheads out here who just trying to make a name for themselves.
Let's get back to the gentrification for just a minute, because the federal government has given a grant to allow Detroit to remove a highway that was built 50 years ago and was built to basically destroy two affluent Black communities. And they're going to make up for it by removing the highway.
Yeah, and I have mixed feelings about that personally.
That's what I was about to ask. Hear myself say it, it's like not only are you 50 years late, but is that the best way of trying to make up for something so horrific?
No, because basically understand that reconstruction of the highway, or whatever they want to call it, is part of that gentrification piece.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, and you're right on point. Is downtown has been one of the places that have gone an extensive redevelopment, and this highway they want to remove is a feeder into the casino district. Well, one of our casino districts. So it, you know, so there you go. I mean, they're trying to market it as creating a green space where it's going to be a walkable neighborhood, blah 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 blah. But you know, in my mind, like you said, an affluent, vibrant Black neighborhood was destroyed, and thousands of people were displaced throughout the city because of it. And it was a historic called Paradise Valley, and lots of Blacks. I mean, it destroyed. It just. I mean, if you want to have a comparison, in my mind, it's kind of like the government's version of the Tulsa massacre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because lots of Black families and businesses were displaced. And in my mind, those things, we never really recovered from that.
It broke everything up when there was an established community.
Exactly.
The money stayed in the community. It went from one Black family to another Black family. And that's how you develop wealth. And that was a threat.
Exactly. I mean, you know, generational wealth was developed. You know, we still have some of the businesses that survived that period that are still in existence today. But I think how much more would we have had as a city and as a people had that neighborhood stayed intact.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you for popping on here.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Will you come back again?
Sure.
All right. Thanks, Real Talk. And thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate that. And that's what we try to do on this show. That's what we always tried to do is go to the sources, go to the, you know, talk to the people in the cities where things are going on, and getting real answers. And thank you, Real Talk. Hi, Sassy Pants. Oomph. Thank you all for watching. Gentrification is also happening where I live, pushing people out onto the streets. It's something that has gone on or is going on in just about every major city. Basically what it is somebody comes along and says, hey, I want to put a condominium development where these houses are. They either rezone it or they buy the neighborhood out at a reduced rate. Now, back in the day, they would force them out without any kind of repayment. So it's been going on to the Black communities for a long time. And a lot of us in the white community have no clue what actually happens within the Black community because we don't take time to listen, or we simply don't care. And that's another thing we try to give you something to think about on here. We try to bring you things that you're not going to hear talked about on other programs. And I got something coming up that well, let's go ahead with this first. Mike Lindell had his cell phone taken with an FBI search warrant at a Hardee's. He was in the drive-through, and they took his phone. Supposedly, it is the only phone he had, and everything is on that phone. His words, not mine. And he's very nervous about the FBI having his phone. And Donald Trump's very nervous about the FBI having his phone too. And this happened a few days back, but I hadn't mentioned it yet. And somebody said, hey, why haven't you said anything about Mike Lindell? So there we go. We have Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, and the guy that multiple times has held press conferences and said, I've got the evidence that the election was stolen, only to be laughed out of every place, because quite simply, the election wasn't stolen. If the election was stolen, there would have been a whole lot more Democrats in office than there are. Because if Democrats are going to steal something, they're going to steal a whole bunch of it. And I only say that because I was a Bernie Sanders delegate in 2016, and Bernie had more votes than Hillary, but somehow Hillary came out the nominee. But I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. I'm over it now. But it just goes to show you that rules can change. Anyway, one of the reasons that we all watched the 1776 situation, or Patriots or Pedos, as I gave it as the title of this summer's blockbuster internet hit, was the fact that the idea of pedophiles being around children in a confined area for an extended period of time, the idea that there may be other things and people making allegations that other things were going on. And there's a comic, his name's Jim Brewer, and usually Jim Brewer is really funny. He does a lot of impressions of rock and roll singers, and he's just kind of out there. This is something that I wanted to share with you, just to give you something to think about.
Jimmy Kimmel, viral this. I fight to eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet. And until they release the flight logs, you, the mainstream media, Hollywood, are all pedophiles to me.
So, Mike, do you know what he's referring to?
I can only assume it's something with Epstein, I think, maybe, possibly.
Okay. He just unfiltered, live, called out Jimmy Kimmel and referred to him as a pedophile. And everyone else he just referred to, he referred to the mainstream media who's involved in there and all that jazz. And what he's referring to, the flight logs, now nobody knows if they're fact. Nobody knows. I am not saying it's real. I don't know squat.
It's all alleged.
It's all alleged. But I'll tell you this. You can't. All right. First of all, we're going to start with the flight logs. Now, if you don't know, he's referring to Epstein's flight logs. Who went to the island to be with what he was busted for, and Maxine Glasswell, whatever her name is, which, by the way, you never saw her. You have yet to see her since she's been arrested. You only saw drawings. You never saw the court case. OJ's 24/7. Here's a trial that's maybe the biggest in human history. We're talking about
Captain Jack Sparrow and his wife's divorce and defamation trial was on 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for, I don't know, 23 weeks or something. Something to think about.
trafficking children, and do you see how the circus works? Hey, Trump. The word Trump sells. All eyes are now like over here. Hey, January 6th, Trump got invaded. Whoa. What happened to that Maxine? And where's this list that they've said in the media? And the judge said, we're not gonna let out the list. So this is what this guy's referring to. He's referring to, until you release the list, you're all considered to me. That's what this guy said. I ain't saying that. I don't know jack squat. But now that it's out there, this isn't the first time it's been out there. I'm begging all of you to watch Ricky Gervais at the Oscars 2 years ago, where he did an 8-minute live, uncensored monologue, pretty much calling everyone in the room, didn't say names, pals. Pals, a really cute word for children.
In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world, people from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming for you. He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year. It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no, we got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, nearly 3 hours long. Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So... Even Prince Andrew's like, come on, Leo, mate, you know. You're nearly 50, son. Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show. A superb drama, yeah. A superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and... So... It's already 3 hours long. Right, let's do the first award. The first award. The first award is for Best Actor in a Television Series, Musical or Comedy. To present the award are a couple of actors off the telly, what can I say? Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
Okay. That being said, that's why, hold on a second. Wait a minute. There we go. All right. That's one of the reasons that everybody got so infatuated with this, I think, is because there was the idea that allegedly there are some things going on. Now, just because it's not in the public eye anymore, should we forget those things allegedly happened? Just something to think about. Delta, my man, I was just thinking about you today. All honor to you, my man, and I hope everything's well with you. Jeffrey did not end up dead because he was innocent, and that lady did not go to prison for being innocent. How could she be charged in the kid of human trafficking with somebody else? Good questions. And since we are talking about pedophiles at the moment, I've got something else here. I got a few things here real quick to share. Representative Matt Gaetz, a Republican from Florida, sought a pardon related to the Justice Department sex trafficking probe. Former Trump aide has testified. Gaetz sought a pardon related to the Justice Department sex trafficking charges that are pending against him, and sex with a minor, transporting a minor from across state lines for sex. And just something to think about. You normally don't request a pardon for something you're not guilty of, right? Just something to think about. The open borders thing, all right? Here are the number of apprehensions by month. Now, I'm not saying there's not a problem at our border. All you have to do is watch the videos to see that. But the former president tonight said that millions of illegal aliens are pouring across. And actually, if you look in 2022, the number of border apprehensions are higher than they ever have been, and higher than the highest point. All of them are higher than the highest point in the Trump administration. Why wasn't the problem solved when Trump was in office? Oh, that's right. They were going to build a wall, but that Bannon guy, he swindled, frauded a bunch of people and swindled them out of the money that they were donating to build a wall. He kept for himself. That's what happened. Trump did speak in Youngstown, Ohio tonight. And again, Lori Arnold was there. We wish her safe travels back. One of the things Trump said was JD, referring to JD Vance, the Senate candidate. JD is kissing. He wants my support so bad. He said shootings, stabbings, rapes, carjackings. Our country is being invaded by millions of illegal immigrants. The economy is crashing. Your 401k is collapsing. Murder, murder, murder. Rape, rape, rape. Fear, fear, fear. All teachers are Marxist and they're indoctrinating the kids. You know, the same thing he says at just about every speech. And since I've been watching him for a while, watching the speeches, I'm wondering how many, you know, I know there are a lot. I don't know what percentage. I don't know if it's 30% of the people, 40% or what, but they go to every rally, no matter where it is, the same people. It's like deadheads following the Grateful Dead around. When they would go on concert, you'd have this massive caravan of people following the Grateful Dead. It's kind of the same thing here. I'm guessing 25 to 30% of the people are at every one of the events. A lot of them saw hats and shirts and stuff to pay their way, just like the Grateful Dead people sold hats and shirts and food and jewelry and stuff to pay their way. So, and again, I already showed that. I wanted to pop on this again. I've shown this a few times. An article called Interacting with QAnon. They were talking about introducing artificial intelligence and how they were experimenting with the QAnon people and interacting with QAnon to see if it was acceptable. And most of them didn't know it was even going on. I've shown episodes where we have played the actual things that the QAnon people are hearing, and you can tell that it is done by it's not a human voice reading it. And the people responsible for bringing this artificial intelligence into QAnon through the Trump family, Peter Thiel and somebody named Jeffrey Epstein. One final thing while we're on this. We talk about this maybe once a month. Maybe once a month I bring this up. Here, I'll bring it like that so we don't lose it. Propaganda 101, according to Nazi Germany and the head of their public enlightenment, quote unquote, Reich Minister Joseph Goebbels. Number one, if you tell a big enough lie, keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. A lot of accusations against. Remember, the Hillary Clinton was running a pedophile ring in the basement of a pizza shop out of Washington, D.C. Accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Propaganda works best when those who are being manipulated are confident that they are acting on their own free will, and it's vitally important for the state to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie. They've got to repress dissent. And that's exactly what happened to those in opposition to the 1776 people at Bunker Hill. The police decided it was a lot easier to remove 6 or 7 protesters than it would be to deal with 30 or 40 people that were on the verge of being evicted. So accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Now, if you're a Republican, if you're a diehard Republican, you're not going to like at all this next little segment. Don't leave out the paid supporters who stand behind him at every rally. The greatest hits. Call the Trump deadheads. Fred. If you're a diehard Republican, you need to see what I'm about to show you, but you're really not going to like it. This is a list of Republican sexual predators. Donald Trump, accused of sexual assault by multiple women. He was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, brag of walking in on underage girls naked at pageants. Now, all the sources are down here. Judge Roy Moore, accused of sexual assault and dating underage women. And you know that Republicans in some states are trying to lower the age of consent or do away with it at all. You know, should be something to think about. Jim Jordan, accused of ignoring sexual assault of young men when he was at Ohio State University. Speaker of the House Dennis Hassert was convicted of sex abuse. Cobb County Chairman Joseph Russell, child molesting. Pro-life anti-gay activist Howard Scott Heldreth, convicted of raping a child. Ohio County Commissioner David Swartz, convicted of raping 2 girls, released after only 5 years. He's back in prison after contacting one of his victims. This is why level 3 sex offenders have to be monitored, in my opinion. It's just something to think about. Republican Judge Mark Pazunach pleaded no contest, fondling a 10-year-old girl. Republican anti-abortion activists now possessing child pornography and offering a bounty to anybody who would murder an abortion doctor. This is just the first 10. Okay, I'm not going to read through the whole list. You want to know why? Let's just let's scan down here. Okay, there's 122 different ones. Michael Cohen, threats and money to silence women and reporters who could expose sexual predator Donald Trump. GOP Representative Patrick Meehan, sexual harassment. That's number 123. Joe McCarthy started the Lavender Scare, a purge of gays from government. Many other Republicans joined in. Technically not a crime, but surely an immoral act. He's only number 161. So what do you think? 300? You think there are 300 Republicans and Republican-connected powerful people with actual charges? Let's see. Yep, there's 300. Oh, 303. What do you think? 350 maybe? 400? Yeah, here's 408, 409, 413. George Nader, liaison to the Trump transition, child pornography. Maybe 500. I'm going to put you out of your misery. Let's just go all the way down to the very bottom. 883. Actual, the number is 898. 2 away from 900. And it's updated automatically every 5 minutes as people are reporting. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. And I know there are going to a lot of people go, well, yeah, but. Come on. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Doesn't matter what political party you're in. Facts are facts. But so many people have a blind allegiance. And I respect their right to do that. But a lot of them have spent so much time looking one direction, whether that be Breitbart or Fox News or Newsmax or Alex Jones or whatever. If you only look one way, you're only going to see one thing. And there are at least 2 sides to everything. Thank you all for joining me tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night at midnight. It'll be another edition of Late Night America on the American Doofus channel. Blessings be upon each and every one of you. Again, thanks for watching.